Good afternoon, folks. This is Steve. In my series of, we're going to talk about the in-ground rotary lift I have, part four. It's installed, it's up, pressurized. Part one was when we had it on the floor and we changed the seal. I did a little video on how to change the piston seal under the aluminum cover there on the floor. We changed that. This is a 1983 rotary Frank Paul 46H fully hydraulic Mark V, circa 1983. This will be the last part of the series of this lift. I installed it. I pressurized it. As you see in the floor, I have the piping ran to the piston. I tested it for 24 hours in the up position just to make sure that I didn't have any leaks. Then I filled it in with the sand. You'll see the 1.25 inch pipe with the gate valve right here. I tested it, pressurized it, filled it with oil. I can close the gate valve if I want to lock this thing out if I don't want anybody to use it, especially when I have my grandkids here. And this is the oil valve with the red handle on it. It's a McDonald valve. And then the air pressure valve is right here. And you'll see the gauge on it. I put a gauge on it to pressurize, make sure that there's no leaks anywhere. So this will pressurize the oil tank behind the wall, and then you pull the red handle valve here, McDonald valve. When you rise the lift, it'll precisely control the lift and lowering of this vehicle, so it doesn't shoot through the roof. Out back behind this wall, I'll show you the oil tank here. Sorry about the mess. There's a 40-gallon oil tank with the airline, and I do have a lockout valve on that. And then the pipe right here, the oil 1.25 inch with the blue ball valve on it, so I can close that off. So I have different ways of locking this thing out and isolating the unit. I also put the tank above ground so I wouldn't have an environmental issue going on with this thing. I don't want any oil tank in the ground since this is my home shop. Um, like I said, if I ever want to dismantle this thing, I can have the oil sucked out of the tank. I can disconnect the unions right here on both ends of these pipes. I got a valve here. I can close that off and be done with it. And same thing with the lift itself. I can take the bolts off this thing, and as you see, the cylinder is about 2 inches below the cement. If I take the yoke off, I could cement this thing up, and no one would. It wouldn't be in the way for anybody. So, anyways, I just want to show you this lift. It's now working. I haven't put a car up on it yet. I haven't had a chance to do that. I'm going to cement this rest of this in this week, and then trawl it out, smooth it out, and so on and so forth. But I'm going to use this lift for my hobby shop here at home to do service work on my vehicles. I can put a piece of plywood on top of it and make it a nice work table or a welding table, whatever I want to do. I can put my golf cart on this thing because I do live in Florida. So I can take the tires and change the tires or whatever. I do have the tires here if I want to change tires on my golf cart, whatever I want to do. But basically, it's an old school rotary lift, and it's sat for at least 30 years, according to the former owner of it. He's retired in his mid 90s out in Land Lakes, Florida. This is where I got this lift from. I do live in Florida, about an hour west of Land Lakes. Uh, Not on the coast of the Gulf, but a couple miles east of the Gulf of Mexico. So when we dug this thing out, basically it was all sand. This casing is sitting in some cement, about 4 inches of cement, so it won't go anywhere in the ground. And then we filled it in with sand. It was about 75 pails of sand, about 75 to 75 to 80 pails it took to get this thing dug out. And we got it in the ground, and we leveled it. put the sand back in, tamped it down, and then I piped it several weeks ago. Tested it for leaks, and I used some soap and water in this little spray bottle right here. I put studs in it so I can make sure I had no leaks around the joints and so on before I put cement in here. But it's a nice lift, and like I said, I shouldn't have any EPA issues because this tank's above ground, and I don't want to put any oil in the ground, oil tanks in the ground into today's today's world. You don't want to do that. So Rotary does make some nice above ground lifts. They also make an in ground smart lift as well. It's a high pressured, and they do make them. They're in twin post lifts today. They make them that way. But yeah, this is my lift. If you have any comments or questions about it, installing it, I was able to download the installation manual for this lift uh, online, and I didn't have to pay anybody to do this. I did it all myself, but with the help of three other strong guys, we were able to get this thing set in the ground, leveled, and that was the most. That was the hardest part, getting it in the ground. Cleaning it up and getting it ready to go was the easy part. A lot of sweat, but in the long run, it's worth it. So I live in a nice neighborhood here, and down here in Florida, and I can it'll give me something to do because I'm semi-retired. So and according to my realtor, this just increased the value of my home for about $10,000, according to my realtor, and who's a good friend of mine. He said that whoever's mechanically inclined would definitely want this house due to that. And but right now I'm, like I said, I'm semi-retired, and it's going to give me something fun to do. So I'll be able to service my vehicles in detail and do whatever. So, okay, you guys have a great day. And like I said, if you have any questions or comments, hit me back, and I'll get back to you. Thank you.